What is going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and I am here to discuss the second episode of the most recent Stephen Bomb 6, and that is, of course, Dugout. Unfortunately, Haley is once again incapacitated, so she will not be joining for this review, sadly. You are stuck with me once again, but she may potentially, possibly, probably be back on Wednesday for the Good Lars, and hopefully everything beyond that as well. We're probably going to try to record in bulk, so if she's available, we'll try to do the rest of the bomb together. But yeah, let's just jump into it. This should be a pretty quick video, just going to get my quick thoughts on it. I'm not going to recap every single little detail that happens. I thought it was a really good episode. I liked that we finally got to see some interaction with Doug, who is, of course, Connie's father. We didn't really get to see too much of him. Every time we saw him, it was in the middle of some type of bad situation that kind of made him a little bit more reserved, like the dinner where Alexandrite showed up, and that was basically supposed to be Steven's mother, and that kind of made things a little awkward. And, you know, if your daughter had a friend who had a giant, many-story tall woman for a mother, and she was magical and all that good stuff, you might be a little bit put off and a little bit worried about who your daughter is hanging out with. So we always thought, or at least I always thought, that he was a more uptight type of father, similar to Priyanka, Connie's mother. I always thought he was kind of in that vein, but he's actually very lighthearted and goofy and fun. Like, he's a really fun dad, and that's not what I was really expecting. He's definitely a nerd. He's a total doof throughout this entire episode. We kind of see him feeling like he's a badass, like he's not really doing anything. Like, oh yeah, we got flashlights. And he's like just trying to be cool about it. He's like, oh yeah, I got these batteries. Let me hook it up real quick. But yeah, he's like a complete dork the entire time. But we learned that Connie really likes that, because Connie's life is very intense between her schooling and her mom being a nurse and running around all the time and having all these intense patient problems, and her, of course, you know, casually saving the planet and dealing with magical aliens and going just all this post-war nonsense. She enjoys being with her dad because she's lighthearted, he's fun, he's enjoyable to be around, and he's normal. He doesn't have anything super intense or crazy going on all the time, and he does kind of lament about this. He does wish that, you know, he could be a more interesting dad or a cool dad, but Connie likes him just the way he is. And that was a really nice, touching moment where we got some Connie and Doug, father-daughter bonding there. We didn't get to see too much of that. We got to see her, you know, kind of do that with her own mother, and even a little bit with Greg, actually, but we didn't actually get to see that too much with Doug. So I'm glad we got to see Doug in this light, get a little more development for not only Doug, but Connie and her overall family as well. Of course, two little Easter eggs. Connie actually ends up dressing like Carmen Sandiego, and Steven ends up dressing as this parody of Mario/Luigi. He sounds like he's talking as if he is the main character, so it's Mario, but it's a green hat, so it's kind of Luigi. Nice little Easter egg thrown in right there. And there was actually a moment when they were in the car, and Doug is basically explaining, you know, they're waiting for the intruder to come. They're trying to see something or hear something, and they're just waiting in the car. Nothing's really happening. And he said, you know, a lot of these things that require waiting. I'm sure when you guys are saving the world, it's not all bam, poo, pow all the time. And that was actually very funny to me, because that reminds me of this show, because it's definitely not bam, poo, pow all the time. A lot of people have been complaining about the pacing of this show, and especially in season 4, there hasn't been a lot of action going on at all. There's been just a lot of lackadaisy, like, yeah, let's invite Ronaldo over because burp. And I feel like that could have potentially been a nod to the audience. Like, they're kind of aware that people kind of complain about the quote-unquote filler episodes of Steven Universe. If that wasn't intentional, that was very funny and very ironic and almost poetic that it would happen in this season. So that was perfect. I really enjoyed the way this episode set up the rest of the bomb, because it kind of added this element of mystery, but it was like lighthearted. So like on the surface, it kind of seemed as if this wouldn't be a very important episode, but obviously if you saw the promo and or the leaks, you know that this is definitely leading to something, and you could pretty much guess that there are gems involved in everything that they are investigating. We see the broken gate. Obviously, Onion is not strong enough to do that, even though Onion could theoretically potentially do something like that with some type of object or cutter or something like that. We know Onion likes to work very sloppily, and he's just a straight up hood rat. But yeah, so obviously we know that probably, minor spoiler alert, if you're not aware of the gems names by now, which is probably unlikely, but just in case, maybe skip ahead a few seconds. That was probably by the work of Topaz opening the gate, and the little spinny gravitron ride just kind of shutting and turning on by itself. I feel like that was probably the work of Aquamarine with her wand, but we'll get into all of that at a later date when we can actually discuss a little bit more about the gems that we know. But again, this is kind of hinting, if you saw the promo, which I would assume most of you did see the promo at the very least, this is pretty much implying that the gems are involved in everything that they're investigating, and Onion just happens to be there. Onion is probably, you know, he's probably the one that was doing it originally, but the gems are actually the ones that were causing all of the trouble that they were looking into in the first place. And yeah, it was actually very smart to use Onion as, I guess, somewhat of a red herring, but not really, because it's like, you know, it's not Onion, and they do reveal that it's not Onion at the end, so you're not really supposed to think it's Onion, but you're kind of supposed to think it's Onion. It's just like a little too easy. So it's like an obvious red herring. So it's like a red herring, if that makes any type of sense. But yeah, obviously they end up finding Onion at the end, and Onion thinks he's being chased, which Steven tries to explain, like, no, it's just us. We were just looking into things. Don't do illegal stuff, man. We know that Onion and Steven have a very close relationship. So once Onion sees Steven after being presumably chased by the two gems, Onion is very relieved and so happy to see him, reiterating that Steven and Onion's relationship has gotten a lot better over the years, and they're much closer now than they were at the start of the series. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously at the end, the Doug, Steven, and Connie end up driving off, and we see the silhouettes of the two new gems, the two new Homeworld gems, giving us a little taste at what we can expect for the rest of the bomb. I really love the way they did this. I like Doug a lot, actually. He's really funny. Hopefully we get to see more of him. I would love to see him interact with Greg more, because they're actually very similar in that aspect, that they're just very goofy and silly and just really enjoyable father figures. But yeah, really good episode. Kind of let us taste that ever-present dread, that feeling of something bad is going to happen very soon, and it was just really well executed. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? Are you a fan of Doug? Are you a fan of the way that they handled the two new gems sort of kind of being introduced? Let us know in the comments down below. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe for more Steven Universe and all things animation. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've been Michael Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.